That's right, everybody. We survived it. Ethan Tuttle and Chris Cartman here for SunDevilSource following Arizona State's 24-21 win over Southern Utah here at Mountain America Stadium. Chris, this was one of the more unbelievable events I've been to in a while. Kenny Dillingham did get his first win as a head coach at Arizona State, so I'm sure he's feeling pretty psyched about that, but it was a long day. How did this kind of stack up there for you?
Yeah, it's after 2 a.m. right now, Ethan, as we're recording this. The game spanned between 2 months. Started in August, ended in September. I think it ended at 1:01 a.m. on September 1st, and ASU's 1-0. So a lot of ones and zeros, binary, good, bad, just like the first half versus the second half, by the way. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and get right into some of the analysis of this ball game. Chris, to start it off, Arizona State came out of the gate with some energy, some fire. Obviously, the student section showed up loud and proud as well. So they had some grit behind them as well. But as they trailed on into the game, it seemed like they started to struggle. And then after the rain delay, things just went from bad to worse. So can you kind of walk us through how the game unfolded, really?
Yeah, ASU hit on some big plays, also had 3 and outs, wasn't really having sustained drives. Did a reasonably good job on defense, played a clean first half. That was kind of one of the more important things that we saw. And I feel like the rain delay really affected them. Kenny Dillingham said after the game that shouldn't be one of the tougher adversities that they faced this season, and yet it really impacted them. They weren't able to get into good rhythm coming out of that break. They had 8 minutes to kind of get back into shape, and it's very abnormal, right, to take that long off and then go back and play a game starting at 11:30 or whatever time it was. But at the same time, that's no excuse. Southern Utah had to do the same thing. ASU got outplayed in the second half by a lowly opponent that shouldn't even be in the game, and that's very discouraging, I think, just their inability to find a gear that they could get into in that second half.
Yeah, you could kind of see in the post-game press conference with Coach Kenny Dillingham, he was a little frustrated with the performance of the team and just kind of some of the willpower, if you will, to get through that rain delay and continue moving on. But let's go ahead and get into freshman quarterback Jaden Rashada's first start as a Sun Devil. He's also 20 years old today. It was his birthday.
Yeah.
He had 3 touchdowns, a few explosive plays. What'd you think about his performance and from where he started to where he ended the game?
Looked very good in the first half. He had the 2 longer touchdown throws. He had the 133-yard throw that was to Melquan Stovall that set up a touchdown by Cam Scadabo. Then he had the long touchdown throw that was very nice to Xavier Guillory that was on the money. I felt like those were the types of throws that we haven't really seen much of, not just in recent years, but maybe even in really recent decades. And we talked a lot about his explosive capability in the passing game all preseason and how that allowed him to separate from the other quarterback options, and that was there on display, right? Then he had the dust storm starts, and he has that nice back shoulder touchdown throw to Troy O'Mary. Got some photos of you being in the background, right?
I'm in there.
Shooting that.
I did make an appearance.
Got some good clips. Check out the highlights. But at the end of the day, I felt like it looked like they were in a very good rhythm. Coming out of the second half, they weren't able to recapture that, and there were some missed throws that he had. There was one for sure that Xavier Guillory had the cornerback stacked, and the ball was too far outside on the boundary and not far enough. And then they had another opportunity that was a throw. And look, ASU was bad on third downs in the game. They did not convert any third downs until the fourth quarter. They had the 1 4th down was the touchdown to Guillory, but offensively, I just felt like they never really had anything going for them in that second half, which was really frustrating. Probably only a few thousand fans were watching it at home on their TVs by then, or on their whatever devices, and in the stadium there was maybe 500 fans or something.
Probably.
Super surreal situation. Never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it was just a completely different type of second half to what we're accustomed to here at Mountain America Stadium now. Just really quick, let's touch in one more time on the second half really quick. There were some miscues on the special team side of things for the Sun Devils. What do they need to do, in your opinion, to clean things up moving forward ahead into these next weeks?
Yeah, so Chris Edmonds, pretty sure he didn't get enough of a bump before he released downfield as a gunner. So that enabled that penetration as ASU's punter rolled out to that same side, which makes him a little more vulnerable. That was the biggest play of the second half, I would say. That enabled it to be a close game. ASU had one penalty in the first half and then had 3 on one offensive drive alone in the second half. Remember, they had the Elijah Badger punt return where he wasn't down, and then or kickoff return, he wasn't down, and then ASU went backwards minus 14 yards on a scoring drive. Like that doesn't happen. That was part of the Pac-12 after midnight or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So just a lot of just poor execution. In the first half, I thought that they did such a good job of getting lined up properly. All their assignments were pretty crisp. They tackled well. Like, it looked good, like, for a first game. In the second half, I'm like, what? This is a different team. They didn't handle it well at all. The one good thing that you could say about ASU, though, is that they finished strong. They had possession for 13, almost like 12 and a half minutes in the fourth quarter. They had all 4 of their third down conversions were in the fourth quarter to Carlos Brooks, 2 out of an I formation where he was like almost like a halfback. We haven't even seen that in practice. I don't know where they even worked on that. We watched all their practices. Yeah. And then they had one pass to Cam Scadaboo was for a conversion, and another run for Carlos Brooks. So they salted away the game. ASU's defense gave up one long-ish scoring drive in the second half, one long-ish scoring drive in the first half. Otherwise played a very clean game. Southern Utah had 260-something total yards. That's good. It's just ASU put them into some situations that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, Kenny Dillingham alluded to it after the game in the post-game press conference, talking about Jaden Rashada and how they got him into a good rhythm in the first half, and they just seemed to fall out of that in the second half with the rain delay, whatever it may be. They just weren't able to find that again. So that's definitely going to be something important for the Sun Devils to continue to establish with Jaden Rashada, just making sure he's comfortable and confident out there on the field. But that's going to do it for this SunDevilSource Postgame Show. He's Chris Cartman. I'm Ethan Tuttle. Sun Devils get the win 24-21 here at Mountain America Stadium. We'll see you next time.